Hello, this is Kunal, and for today's little talk, I have in front of me this book from Acharya Balkrishna. Acharya Balkrishna. The book is called The Science of Ayurveda, a practical approach to the science of Ayurveda. So it's a book about Ayurveda, which is, as you may know, a subject I've been passionate about for about, I don't know, since 2010, I would say. Or, 2010, I've been into the subject ever since I've been into Baba Ramdev, and then through Baba Ramdev, I heard about Rajiv Dixit, who did a great introduction to Ayurveda series of videos available on the internet. And from there, I learned about more about Ayurveda, and I dropped out of medical school, like I have told people, because I realized that this was a much better way to learn about health than becoming a doctor. So anyhow, today's reading is going to be another cutting through the matrix kind of reading. As we know, the mainstream medicine is a very limited scope of understanding of the reality of human body and human health and human existence, naturally, because they basically only focus on the materialistic aspect of things. And if you really know the truth, you know that first you have consciousness, then you have the mind, and then you have the body. And that's how it works. But anyhow, here we have medicated smoking. And here we break the illusions of mainstream society about how, smoking is bad. And even Balkrishna himself says tobacco and drugs, smoking drugs and narcotics is bad. But if you look at the medical effects of tobacco and cannabis and other things people smoke, which may or may not be intoxicating. In fact, people don't know how to smoke anymore, I agree, but tobacco and cannabis both have medicinal effects which are quite conducive to smoking it. So anyway, it's just he has to say these things because he's associated with a religion. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get to the topic of medicated smoking from the book called The Science of Ayurveda, a comprehensive guide for healthy living. So here it starts with Ayurveda. Here starts Ayurveda recommends medicated smoking in case of heaviness in the head, headache, inflammation in the nose, migraine, pain in the eyes and ears, hiccups, bronchial asthma, sore throat, weak and painful teeth, watery discharge from the ears, nose, and eyes. A lot of stuff around the head. Then smells in the nose and mouth, loss of appetite, also associated with the brain, itching, infections, pale complexion, premature graying and shedding of the hair, baldness, excessive sneezing, too much sleep, lethargy, dizziness, insomnia, heavy voice, and several other disorders. So as you can see right here, medicated smoking of herbs, is great for so many different ailments, and not just in the head and neck region, but really throughout the body. So that's what Ayurveda recommends. These are certain conditions they recommend medicated smoking for. So let's move on to the next topic, which is detailed about how to practice this therapy. So in Ayurveda, various preparations using herbs and medicinal plants to prepare medicated cigars have been described. So herbs and medicinal plants have been written about for thousands thousands of years, and how to use them for making medicated cigars. Narcotic drugs, he says, and tobacco are not used in these mixtures. Obviously, tobacco is never going to be used because it is a American plant, which wasn't present there, I don't think, back in the day. But narcotic drugs, yeah, I'm sure cannabis and datura and those things are not put in the regular smoking mixtures because they will inebriate the person. So anyhow, especially for some of these conditions like painful teeth, you would not, unless you had serious pain, you wouldn't want to put cannabis in your smoking mixture. Anyhow, let's see. Well, maybe I'm thinking more of, for example, like itching, right? You wouldn't want to get high while you're itching unless, I guess, you wanted to escape that feeling in your mind. Or infections, that's a better example, right? Or pale complexion. Anyhow, so yeah, narcotic drugs and tobacco are not used in these mixtures of Ayurveda, and such medicated smoking provides nourishment. So smoking actually provides nourishment to the hair, sinuses, voice, and strengthens the sense organs. So hair, sinuses, voice, and the sense organs. So everything around the head and neck is being affected, and in a positive way, supposedly, by smoking. Now let's see how to do it in a positive way. It also protects against throat, neck, and head ailments caused by vata and kapha dosha. Now that's the dosha system, the humor system, and how to keep them in balance through smoking. So as you see, those are the doshas that are basically under the influence of cold. So cold tends to make those kapha and vata dosha aggravated. So therefore, smoking tends to balance that and be good for the upper part of the upper third of the body. So 8 times in a day are considered suitable for smoking. Smoke can be inhaled after bathing, cleaning of the tongue, something nobody knows about, brushing of the teeth, after meals, after sneezing, after nasya therapy, which is basically, inhaling or ingesting oils through the nose and other substances, powders, and oils, smoke. It's all nasya therapy. So after putting oil in your nose, typically people can smoke. Or after putting kohl or collyrium application, which is something put on the eyes. It's like, I've never done it. But I've had it put on my ears. Weird enough. Anyway, and after sleeping, I guess, is another good time to smoke. So anytime, basically, all these times you get a lot of water and a lot of heaviness in your head after doing all these things. So that's why smoke therapy is recommended for those times. So those times were considered suitable for smoking, those 8 times in the day. Then we have, or those 8 activities, I guess, in a day. And then if smoking is carried out only after these 8 phases, diseases are not contracted. Inhaling 3 times consecutively is recommended at every smoking session. All right, now, so you gotta have moderation, is what they're trying to say. I do it 3 times in each nostril. I try to, because doing it more than 5 times is it has negative effects. Obviously, you can notice it immediately. So it's a good practice to moderate your smoking, obviously, and also, like he said, not to use the proper substances, narcotic drugs and tobacco, especially the additive things filled with pesticides and additives are also not good either. Anyhow, let's see. So now, what are the benefits and the side effects? So after the 8 times, and how many times you should smoke and so forth, 3 times at each session. And then he says, when smoking is carried out properly, chest, throat, and head feel lighter. So chest, throat, and head feel lighter. These are the 3 areas affected. And helps in loosening and eliminating catarrh, which is basically the phlegmy stuff in your breathing passages. Too much smoking, however, heats and dries the tongue, the cotton-mouth syndrome. Too much smoking heats and dries the tongue, the throat, the palate, which I suppose is the mucus area, I don't know, or the taste areas, and the head itself. So all of that gets heated up if you smoke too much. The sense organs become heated up and thirst increases, which might also be experienced from any part of the body. So you have to be careful, because over smoking might cause to these things such as syncope, which is lightheadedness leading to loss of consciousness, dizzy, and simultaneously along with dizziness and even bleeding, intrinsic hemorrhage in the brain and those other areas, or even any other part of the body, actually, they're saying, from the heat. So therefore smoking should be done carefully and in the proper dose. So smoking for the sake of intoxication is prohibited in Ayurveda, they said. So don't get high, guys. Obviously, the doctor's going to tell you not to get high. So this is what it is. Smoking for the sake of intoxication. So basically, these are all the conditions that smoking helps with, and these are the things you should do while smoking, and these are the benefits and the dangers of smoking. So very balanced article by the great Acharya Balkrishna, the wise, noble, and generous teacher of all mankind and promoter of good health and consciousness and harmony. Alright, so this is me checking out. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.